Okay, so in this video we have another excuse me, example of finding an exact value of a trig function that is not a special angle, but we can split it up into two special angles and apply our sum and difference formulas. So cosine of 255, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find two angles that are nice that work. So another way I can look at this is because, and I said in a previous video, it ends in 5, so I'm going to subtract a 45-degree angle, and that would give me 210. So if I take 210 and 45 and add them together, this one gives me a 30-degree reference angle, and this one's 45. Those are good special angles. So I'm going to split the cosine of 255 into these two angles and apply my formula. So cosine of angle A plus B is going to equal, thanks Mr. Allen, I appreciate you making the noise while I'm making a wonderful video. Wow, he's such a nice young man.
Young,
Very,
yes, I am young.
Yeah, very small in stature though. So cosine of A times cosine of B, and remember cosine's always opposite, so we're going to subtract the sine of angle A and sine of B. Apparently Mr. Allen's all about breaking my concentration, so you're affected and your education is affected. I apologize for his antics. Okay, so angle A is going to equal 210 and angle B is 45. So I'm going to go ahead and plop those guys in, and I get cosine of 210 degrees times cosine of 45 degrees minus sine of 210 degrees cosine of 45 degrees. And in the previous videos, remember, I have been doing this little chart that is extremely helpful with remembering our special values. Okay, so let me go ahead and jot this down. Oop, almost had the wrong value here. Awesome. And then the other thing we have to remember is all students take calculus. Okay, so cosine of 210. So 210's got a 30-degree reference angle. Boom, go to the 30. Cosine is our x value, root 3 over 2. Okay, is it positive or negative? 210's in the third quadrant. Only tangent and reciprocal are positive. So this is going to be a negative root 3 over 2. My 45s are always root 2 over 2. Just need to know whether it's positive or negative. Sine of 210, third quadrant. If cosine is root 3 over 2, then that means sine has to be the other one, which is 1/2, but it is negative because we're in the third quadrant. And I'm going to go back up here, and I made a mistake. I am going to correct it, and this should be sine. See, I'm glad I double-checked my work. So when I go through this, I'm double-checking my work. And you should all double-check your work before you start putting your answer together. So now this guy is a root 2 over 2. So I'm going to double check just to make sure. So I got negative root 3 over 2, root 2 over 2, negative 1/2, and root 2 over 2. Good to go. I can go ahead and start multiplying across. So negative root 3 times positive root 2 is a negative root 6 over 4. And that's going to be a plus, negative times a negative, right? So I got the minus here and a minus here. Root 2 over 4. So that gives me a negative root 6 plus root 2 all over 4. Good to go. And so now I have my exact value. Let's go on to the next example. And we're going to find the exact value of cosine of 3 pi over 4 plus pi over 3. So what we're dealing with now is we're just looking at, hey, let's just convert this because, you know what, I don't like the radian measure. Okay, we know that pi is 180. So one of the quick ways to do this, if I know pi is equal to 180, so I got 180 over 3. Well, that's 60 degrees, right? This one, 180 divided by 4, what's 180 divided by 4? But, well, 180 divided by 2 is 90. Divided by 2 again, that's the same thing as dividing by 4. So that would be 45. Okay, so what's 45 times 3? And that's 135 degrees. Hi, Mr. Allen. He's mad at me. Didn't want to say hi. So I'm really finding a cosine of 135. If what I said about doing the conversions didn't work well for you, do this. There is a way to remember these nice unit circle values with radians, but we're really focusing on doing the conversions, kind of working with them a little bit. So just an introduction. So with this video, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into my formula. And remember, it's cosine, so I'm going to subtract here, and I got sine of 135, sine of 60. Oop, running out of room. So we'll go ahead and put that 0 in there. And then, once again, I'm putting this guy down. Super, super easy to remember and extremely helpful. Okay, so now cosine of 135. I'm going to go ahead and get a different color here. Cosine of 135, second quadrant. Reference angle is 45. So I'm looking here, negative root 2 over 2. Cosine of 60, I look at my 60 and I look at my x value. Not this guy. Okay, so that means 60 degrees. I am 1/2 minus sine of 135, root 2 over 2. Sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. So I have a negative root 2 minus root 6 all over 4. One of the quick checks that we can do, this actual angle is cosine of 195 degrees. So this is a second quadrant angle, so we're negative. Is this number negative? Boom, yes. It's not an exact check, but it's a quick check to make sure that you've gone through the process correctly, and at least it's aligned a little bit with what we should expect out of the answer. So you should have an idea as to a little bit about the answer even before you get going, and that's extremely important. Hey, I know this guy's going to be negative, so when you get to the answer, you see the negative number, you're like, hey, I'm pretty good here, so I should be good to go. Okay? So there's going to be one more video, and then that's it for this section. Remember, you got to know these formulas, and you got to be able to apply them.